think she was the combo next to me. I just want to talk to you about money. You're looking at my old YouTube channel, probably my Instagram, and you see me with the plushie bunny. Uh, that bunny wasn't a protective blanket like emotional support therapy. It was actually physical therapy. Uh, in 2022, when I go missing for a few days and I end up abandoned medical, after the police come and take me out of my home, they kidnapped me, took me to Banner, tried to hold me on a 72 hour. I pushed my way out. I was in a unicorn onesie and a plushie. I was holding. The unicorn onesie was armament because I knew I had complex PTSD and people could easily trigger me, so to speak. So I wore the onesie and I told my stepmom. The plushie was just because they were taking me out of my home and I was like, I know you got me messed up. This is too much. And then they let Daniel carry me to the police car. So I knew something was up. Right? So anyway, while I was out prior to that incident, I had been trespassed twice by the police. Once was at someone's home, and the second time was an apartment complex. And it, before, after, around those times, I was hit in my stomach with a trash can. Very, very hard. One of those, um, you know, outside trash cans, the larger ones, the big green ones. This young lady slammed it into my tummy. And then when I was at the apartment, I was pulled down a flight of stairs. That's where the traumatic brain injury comes from. So I managed to get back home because I'm in a state of whatever you want to call it. And the police call and they ask him if I'm there, and then they eventually take me out of my and then Dr. Cox at Banner Medical shows up when I'm on the med surge floor, sitting in the waiting uh, room with the K9 unit to the right of me and the hospital staff to the left of me. She comes up to me and she tells me she's sorry and that they were wrong. Um, and so then I take Uber back to the apartment. I take an Uber back to the apartment, and life just gets wicked. Is what I'll call it. It was literally like being a living ghost. I was still watching myself die. See, I was still recovering from death. Like my synapses were firing; they were all over the place. And they'd given me fluids enough for me to be able to function at the hospital because I made it clear to them I'm not crazy. That these are the things that happen to me. We're trying to. I said it more than once to at the hospital. They're trying to hold me in the hospital because I am making a case against the police department that my cousin was murdered and it wasn't suicide. You hear them sirens going by. That was in Memphis, Tennessee. That's why Tucson never had to do any of this. I always knew that there was police involvement, even when I stood on stage in 2020. I was in the newspaper in Memphis. I just didn't say anything. One of those things where I felt like it might not have been my place. Because I was just his cousin. His mother was alive, his brother was alive, his children. So I decided to do what I could do. which was create an opportunity that no one else would even think of for children like Mario's children. Children who hadn't had the privilege of being attached to the United States military and having equine therapy and access to multiple museums and zoos and cultures and values, freedom. So, hold on a second. As I know what my goal is and I'm creating evergreen content, I make sure that it's appropriate for all parties involved at that time. And that meant, using Bunny when I might otherwise be doing some of the stimming that you see me doing in the street. Because Bunny is, I'm sorry, the internet's permanent. And so if Bunny twerks, you don't see me twerk, right? I might, but you got to catch me twerking. You got to catch a miracle working, right? Same thing. And so when you see the video I posted yesterday of the gentleman where I said I was taxing him for cursing, it's because of that. Now, I was doing my best to not smoke on camera back then, yet I just went about it different. And now I just truly believe that we have to destigmatize it. And I did that anyway. That's the point of the entire thing. Destigmatizing the things that saved my life. Cannabis, conversation, music, community, compassion. I had to forgive myself for holding in years of abuse, years of abuse. It's that scene in Glory where Denzel Washington gets whipped. And I say, stubborn as a mule. I tell you, every one of those, every one of them was meant to fail me, to break me, to make me a good little filly instead of a headstrong mare. You know, ask me if I can. I lived a life that to others is unquantifiable. I continue to do so. I'm trying to sit here and determine how do we harness the power of the sun, turn it on someone. I've seen it. There's this scene. I think it's in a rain. Louis has a guy. He's sitting in the lower things of a room, and all the people are around watching. I could be wrong about the historical reference here, but the point is the point. And he's got this man's eyes held open with like clamps, right? Like how they hold it. Okay? And then he's got a series of mirrors, all of them aiming the sun, beaming the power of the sun directly into that man's eyes, burning his red. Imagine storing up enough of that to take down an entire planet. To power a planet, because right? What if we use solar power and turbine power, right? And we coordinated it along with that stored up power and say in the event that the earth just needs to get out of the way of something real quick, we use the turbines like rudders on a ship, right? And so we turn on the right turbines, uh-huh, and then we use the solar energy right from above and below and we flip around real quick and move the hell up out that bitch. Yeah. Well, that's the point of all the pyramids. But that's the reason why we're connected beneath the earth. See? So that when the time comes and the planet needs to reform like a transformer, not a transgender, but a transformer. imagine, imagine that the planet is really just part of a human being, and we're really inside of the mind of one person. That's Men in Black in theory. Imagine if each one of us has a universe inside of us, and when we collide, it's a beautiful catastrophe. Look at the children that we have, y'all. See, when you and I first, when your universe and my universe come together and we acknowledge what we're doing first, there's an understanding that's created, power and refinement and culture and freedom in ways that people can't imagine. What it is to be non-biased, because it no longer matters, right? I'm a whole walking universe. You are too. What does my universe have that you want your universe to have? That if our universes collaborate rather than procreate, what is that? What does that net us first? Then talk about what's next. You see, we can have a conversation. Can we collaborate on building a different life where you and I verse about the universe and what we want to see as a universal collective of human beings, light beings, birds of a feather, flocking together. One of those things, you see, sheep have to be herded. Birds, they flock together. They migrate. They don't need something. There's just an internal beacon, right? We know this by way of science. So you and I, each being our own universe, have a flocking system. So we're meant to meet at this moment in history. However, that that's the signal. The, what I call the spiritual emergency broadcast system, right? That's that beacon of sometimes hope. We're in Molly girl, you in danger type situation, but at a planetary level. And so when I say that whatever you do to the earth, you do to me, and whatever you do to me, you do to the earth, now you understand me. The earth is the center of the universe. The earth is the center of gravity for humanity, so to speak. The sun powers the earth, and the moon is what makes it rotate by way of the water. When we understand this underlying current of energy, we can then use it by way of physics and kinetics to do that thing that I say is an emergent science, but they keep trying to put a name on it, so let it. Just give me my motherfucking credit. I've come up with this understanding step by step, bit by bit, from knowledge that I built since I was a child. This is stolen from me throughout the years. They even have a rule inside of the Nobel Prizes that you cannot win if you die to come back. Why? It seems very fucking specific. Come on. Yesterday, I told the gentleman, I think I may have told you this, um, about my death experience. Because he said he didn't, no one had ever died and come back, and told him what it was like. I did, I'll tell you. It was warm. Um, it was inviting. I remember, if you think of like walking, uh, your teacher being at the podium, and you're supposed to not even be in class at all because you don't have class. You just got triple graduation, right? And you show up early, and about 4 years. Like what the hell? What's happening? Right? And so I remember like walking up behind the creator, and it was like a swoosh, uh, and 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 then what was oh yeah, that was it. So then I end up on the other side of me, like in this chair that I'm in right now. I can see me off to the right of me. Right, I'm off to the right of me, and I'm looking down at me in this position. But I can see me. Right? If the cup is me, the cup can see me. Me, see me. I'm looking up like what have you? And he was like, oh, no, hold on a second. And then that's when Daniel comes in. And with the last synapses of my brain firing, I pop back into that body and boom, slam his chest into mine. And we keep the homegirl alive. That's when I believe 911 is called again. Like, it's a lot right in that little jumble of space. But if you think that, if you think of, hold on. If you think of the brain as flat and the top of this cup, then everything but this little portion of my brain right here. So let's see if I can line it up. Okay, so if that little hole right there is the front right by my eye, that's about as much of my memory I had returning from death. Okay, see? And then it grows out from there this way, in all due respect. And then it begins to move so that this portion of my, what's this the cortex cerebral up here, right? Where the most brain damage was done. Because if you think about it as a concussion, right? My head snaps, I hit this way, and so my brain goes boom into my forehead, and then oh, a second time, right? So there's more damage in this area. Plus, around that time, I get hit by the frequency weapon of the humans, I believe. So they say at least. And then shortly after all of that, the person that I was living with attempts to press my eyes into my face, causing further damage. I shouldn't be able to walk. I shouldn't be able to see. I shouldn't be able to speak nearly as clearly as I do. It has nothing to do with my teeth and everything to do with aphasia. I have to work a little harder to pronounce words because the language cortex of my brain was affected. So one of the things that saved me though was having a large language lexicon. It was like every time I could hear my language slipping, that's like the transmission on a car, right? So when it started to slip, then I would get back in alignment, however I did it. And that's the science and the math behind it. The cannabis is still, proprietary. I will say you can use any fat if that helps. Especially you want to carry your fat. And so that means something that's pretty much got no taste or smell to it. And then you do your other stuff with it. But yeah, if you look at my first page, I got so many medicated meals on there: medicated oatmeal, medicated sausage and gravy, rice. I've got gochujang, collard greens. Just all of that was just to keep my mind fine. It was just me fusing together what I knew to stay together, stay alive. I've been proud of myself every day since the day I survived gastric bypass surgery. You're like, well, if you want me to be specific, mm, it was the day that I saw Tony and we went to Costco. I realized I had raised amazing men. Then I was proud of the 16-year-old girl who made those changes. That's a hell of an investment. 34 years. Not everything about myself. Their noses, the ridiculous widow's peak on the eldest are just to see light leaving their eyes because someone made them a promise and they didn't keep it to them or me. That's why I keep fighting otherwise. Those dudes chose me to come through. And I chose to do the right thing at 16. Look at me now. I'm proud enough to be out in bright orange outfits. You should ask them. Rarely did I wear colors back then. I never told my children all the things that I went through to protect them. So they wouldn't be looking out for the stranger next door. I knew I could teach them situational awareness, operational security, and a host of other things without um, the excess bullshit. Teaching them to hate other people, teaching them to be afraid, teaching them, that everyone's out to get you. Funny thing, the eldest gets caught stealing candy at like 11. He learned his lesson. So that's what we take away from him. The learned lesson. Maybe he got better at stealing. Who knows? I don't know. The point is, we learn our lessons as we go. I mean, it's a joke. He put that to other use. He's into woodworking. He delivers packages. Well, he does a lot of things. But he's a creative artist. He's brilliant. And that's specifically what I said to my children throughout the years, with the exception of one moment. I don't struggle with the things. That's why I don't do Western medicine. It cost me years of relationship with my eldest son. One Ambien. One. I can't take that back. I don't want to know. I want him to know that it was Ambien, not his mother. And the medical industry knew this before they gave me that Ambien and let me call my eldest son at the height of what was going on. You put that on the patient who's going to the hospital in the crisis, or do you blame the people who don't know how to deal with the crisis and cost us all this time? That's why damage is commensurate with the level of negligence in the medical systems. Period. And the police and the United States government and the city of Tucson. As you can see, it ain't about me being mean. I was just living my life, being another life to I'm being. Now you know I don't socialize detail. Most people ain't never seen this. Friend like me. Peace.